Okay, so this is one of the big ones. It's pretty massive. This is known as Bruck Wasta. Bruck is essentially my take on the arm cannon character. So it's like, it's not like, if you ever play Metroidvania, there's this type of character similar to like Samus, but it's like an antagonist. That's what Bruck Wasta is. He's sort of this evil version of the main character. But the main thing is, the main character doesn't look like this armor-wise in my story. The main character has a mechanical body and has like, either uses rifles or has the plasma that you'd find in weapons that you find in this kind of character built into their body already. So I decided for Bruck Wasta to actually make the armor the standard, like a standard character within these kind of stories. Which is like not really a parody, but it's just, I like having a version of like classic arm cannon villain. I mean, arm cannon character, but as a villain, not a hero. This would be something that like other stories use, like as a character or as a villain or as a hero. I know Pokemon has a new version of it called Armor Rouge, but it's a hero, not a villain, and the sword one is a villain. I just really like how this one's coming around. It looks different and distinct, at least according to me. So, he's very inspired by, like, Samus or Mega Man. The arm cannon, and I just have to get this sorted out. I probably should have recorded more of these, because I have so many different creatures. I think 60 of these UVs already done for various creatures, but this is going to be one of my larger ones. I usually do, for most of the creatures, I usually have the UVs at 128 for textures for creatures. I'm going to do a full, like, 1020. I think this one's going to be full 1028. I mean, 10, the full 1000. Just a million pixels, because, like, this character is not, like, a random creature. This is, like, legitimately an antagonist. Now, this isn't necessarily the main guy, just from the armor itself, so I'm actually going to make the armor separate in this one. I don't know. I probably should do the armor separate from the face, because there's so many different characters that could wear this armor. Like, this is just the iconic armor of his group. He's not the main villain, he's a secondary villain, but his group would necessarily need their own design. This is the general design that all is... What am I doing? These are all eventually the same. This one's just thinner than the other ones. So in that case, what I'll do is I will just select all of them, delete, select this one, delete. I want this to be the same, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror it. And then I'm going to do Alt-D. This would do, still with a mirror at the center. This would do is it's going to essentially make it so, whoops, no. Yeah, it's going to make this thing function a certain way. I think that would be fine. Yeah, that looks still good. Where'd it go? Did I accidentally mess it up? No, I did. Yeah, I don't think I copied it. Did I? This is weird. So it should work now. So let's like that. Then I'm gonna. If I set it to the thing, it's gonna do the same thing to the original. Let's do it before copying it over. So let's go to object, set origin to geometry. Have the mirror not have anything to do with that. And then do not Shift D. Is it copied? No. Alt D. That way it's only one of them. Because I really do not want to have this done twice. And then I can just scrunch this one. And that doesn't affect the big main one. It only affects the small one. So its armor looks good for this guy. I really like how it turned out. So let's now unwrap it. Hopefully this time it works. I don't know if I should do the head separate. I don't think I should. I should just do a separate UV for the, Usually I like to combine the UVs. So I like to go with a lot of darker colors because that allows me to use the emission and the texture at the same texture, which saves a lot of memory. For this, I'm probably, and by probably I mean I'm definitely making it separate. So let me just double check what that big line at the top is. This is definitely one of the more complicated ones. Much more so, actually. Because this guy is not just an enemy, he's an actual character. Although this would also be the same model I use for his goons, I think, for the most part. This guy has a lot of symbolism in him. By symbolism, I mean, I really like the fallen hero archetype. But what if you have a character that doesn't necessarily take well to redemption? That's this guy. He is the false redeemed character. He seemed to be going the right direction, and then he just stopped. I don't know what these are. What's causing these? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So let's kind of have to highlight this again. I'm trying to figure out what's causing the big line up top, because that's broken. It's not supposed to be a thing. And I don't know what I'm missing. What am I missing? Am I missing another body? Am I missing... Because, like, right now, it doesn't show anything. So let's... Huh. It just seems like it's, like, wasted space. Like, it's just a bunch of pieces that don't actually matter. So, I'm going to try one more time to select every major piece of his armor. And when I'm done, I'm going to once again select... like invert and then just delete, because all that extra space isn't actually like used stuff, it's just garbage. What is that? I don't know why those... Yeah, that's weird. Okay, that's a piece, that's not a piece. I want to get rid of those pieces. It doesn't serve a purpose, I'm getting rid of it. That's a massive gun. I just love the idea of this giant gun. Like, that is bigger than Samus's gun in Metroid. That is just comically large for a weapon. I like the idea for that guy, this guy having a weapon. I'm gonna get rid of that one, because that's way too point dense. It's way too point dense. I like usually keeping things like that, but it's too point dense for me to use. I don't even know what its purpose is, so let me just select that. It's the helmet. I think that's the head. Either way, it's now time for me to do that. So I don't accidentally delete part of the eyes or the face. Trying to figure out what I missed. And actually care about, considering, that seems, these shapes here seem to be important. Seem to give definition to it, so I thought they weren't, but they are. I know there's one line in the middle, that's not important. That's important, because that gives definition. Also, for this character, I like a lot of secondary options could be really useful for this guy. I don't know why there's so much geometry on that one. That is really weird. Like, why is there so much geometry on this one point? Right there. Like, that one line has so much geometry, it's ridiculous. It's that piece right there. I don't know why. Just really broken. So what I'm going to do is swing... No, I have to select this big thing here. So I've selected everything. I'm going to Control-I. Now I have to figure out what's causing this thing to work. So for starters, I'm going to try to reselect this big thing. Really want to unselect this one. So I unselect this, and everything else, I think this is the right button. No, it's not. Okay, if I unselect this one, and then everything else that I have should be garbage. So I don't want to accidentally select. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that, yeah. I'm going to delete it. I'm not going to delete it. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to undo a block. So select object. Yeah, that's the piece. So I'm going to select, separate by selection. Now here's the key. Here's the part that matters. I'm going to grab this piece. I'm going to copy it. Not this piece. I'm going to copy this piece. Then I'm going to go to there. That's where it was separated, I believe, correctly. delete it, paste it again. Now that gets rid of all the extra clutter, all of it. And that would enable me to chop off the part of this that I don't like. Now, I got rid of all the extra points. There's no more extra points that don't matter. But the one exception is this one. I want to preserve this piece because this piece I could use to make variations. Variations I can use on different enemies. Now for something that's this massive, that actually matters. Because I could just use multiple different textures or different parts of textures to replace the main one. So I might subdivide this. I'm not sure. I mean, I could just have a few of these ones. As the normals will be the same. The emission points will be the same. I could give different designs for like the armor itself. I'm just trying to figure out where I can divide this piece by. Where do I divide this piece by? Okay. This line seems extremely promising. Extremely promising. Okay. Now. That one. That one. And then we mark it. Mark the seam. That actually works. Now here's where it gets better. I want to just cut off, probably right here, that too. Salvage more of this mesh. I can select this now. I select that. It selects everything except for that part I want to get rid of, and a few other pieces. So that's kept, that's kept, that's kept. All that stuff is the garbage. This extension piece, yeah. Let's get rid of it. There's no point keeping this. This is literally just clutter. So now we have what's left of it. Sure, it needs to be fixed, but not by much. It really did seem to fix the model a lot. Because it removed almost all the extra polygons. Those are some pretty polygon-dense shapes I had, so that had to be done. I didn't want to dedicate this huge amount of polygons to this one image, this one model, inside this character, so I had to really cut it out. The beautiful thing about this game is, worst case scenario, this works. I don't actually have any gameplay ready yet. I probably should, but I'm going to start with the 2D gameplay. This is a pretty weird game. So the game I want to create, it's a hybrid between 2D and a 3D Metroidvania. And by 2D, by a hybrid, I mean, I was going to have it so that every time you save the game, you can switch the options, essentially. And in order to activate, like, let's say, certain puzzles, you would hack into the computer and explore the digital space as your character, but like a 2D version of your characters. Probably still with a model, but probably with different texture. More so because it's just less work to animate it. The only difference would be that the movement would be different. So it would be like 2D movement, like you're inside the computer and you're like a digital being essentially. To be fair, the main character's actual consciousness is digital, so I mean, it kind of is fitting. So you can like jump inside the computer and hack inside the computer and fight enemies inside the computer. Now, the main villains are the Ocearux. The Ocearux are essentially these totalitarian demons. The main gist behind the Ocearux is they are creatures that control economies. They don't like economic freedom. They're very in your face. However, the problem with the Ocearux is that they're not really good at making things work economically. They seem to fail in an economics class. However, they're really good at motivating people to do their bidding, which is probably fitting. So the reality behind the Ocearux, considering this circumstance, is that their bidding generally requires the party, so to speak. It's the Ocearux party. Goes by many different names. But it's the ideology known as Ocearism. Now this might sound very like IRL-ish, but yeah, Ocearism is obvious in what it's inspired by. I mean, it's probably the most blatantly obvious naming convention ever. It's just Marxism, essentially, put in space. So the idea is essentially Leninism. So it's like a Leninist state in space. So think like Stalinist Russia or North Korea, but in space. So this is inspired a lot by history, namely the ideology of the villains. There's also inspiration from like Lord of the Rings. I mean, you're facing a Dark Lord who is like who's kind of a bit of a necromancer. He's a literal lich. They're necromancers. That's like a given. So he's a Dark Lord. He's a lich, and he is able to motivate people to do his bidding with his ideas. He has all these insane powers. Yes, that's a given. But he also has the primary threat be his ideas, not his ideologies. No, his ideology, yes, but the ideas, not the powers that he has. He does have all these insane powers. Like, he can take enemies of the state, enemies of the quote-unquote people, as he says, or the party says. And he can create monsters out of the remains of people. That's a power he has. Did I accidentally delete the good one? No. No, I do not. So they can create characters and demons and everything. This isn't the Ocearux, this is essentially a gangster who joined the Ocearux. Lore is that he's in the process of the demonic possession that leads people to become Ocearux, but he's not there already. And that's what makes him dangerous, as he's trying. He's immensing himself in the corruption. He's really looking to become that monster. And he's pretty much already there, but not entirely. So, Bruck Wasta. Let's call it Bruck, because it's simpler. So, the name of this character is Bruck. Like I said, there's many different soldiers. Bruck is the one that will have its exact design. His soldiers might be missing some of these armor pieces. Like, this is more decorative than functional, like these two armor pieces. They might be missing, let's say, this piece right in the front. The weird, like, piece there. But yeah, this is Bruck Wasta. Let's say this is not a good guy. He's a very, very evil bastard. He is a tyrannical gangster. The one thing of the Ocearux is that they feed on envy. And the main people that they convince to join their side are usually gangsters. Like galactic-wide gangsters. Like not necessarily like Star Wars Hut style, but more of like group rather than just for money. They do that sometimes, but they're more like the kind of gangsters that like raid places, have a cult of personality. A lot of pirates generally gravitate towards the movement of the Ocearux. Especially pirates. I'd say one of the biggest recruits that they have is pirates. Space pirates. So they kind of like them. The Metroid space pirates are more of their they're more fascistic. I would genuinely call them more fascistic. Like they have like their Ridley and similar creatures to Ridley, but they're like they put their ethnicity first, or at least the like ethnicities of their elite first. That's how space pirates function. They're very scientific enemies. The Ocearux, while they do have mad scientists in their employ, namely like Varuk, I think Varuk is the main one. I don't really have any other mad scientists in their employ. The habit of the scientists in this story is they have a really, really bad habit of getting executed for not wanting to do what the Ocearux want. I think I'm going to keep this without the scene. I really like this shape. And this is pretty straightforward, so I'm going to keep that. They have a really bad habit of getting executed for wanting to do their own thing and realizing they're not really getting paid, as well as their rivals generally don't randomly kill their own people for arbitrary reasons. Now, the other thing about their science division, which mostly consists of Varuk and his machines, is they have a habit of, in the past, executing their own scientists for opposing the regime. But it's not even just that, it's also a variety of other factors in there. I really need to really straighten up these, because these are really bad, some of them. Some of these UVs look horrifying. So I'm going to do, now that I've broken up a few of them, I'm going to select the whole thing. I'm going to go to Edit. I'm going to select each piece one by one. Okay, good. I'm going to see where the errors are. Any piece that looks like it has a problem with it, I'm going to redo. I think I found a problem. I'm just trying to make sure that any problem pieces, it looks like regular density. That big gun, I already have a split there, so it doesn't matter as much. That's the biggest piece of all the actual body. His armor really is very varied. I think I'm quite certain that this is a piece I have to carve out. So I found a piece I need to carve out. It's the middle piece. That's very easy to remember. I was thinking that was the problem. I was knowing that was the problem. I didn't realize it was the main problem. So that's definitely one of the major problems. I think the big issue is some of these pieces aren't carved up at all. Because I'm looking at all the pieces that are carved up, and they look generally fine. Yeah, it's the fact that some pieces aren't carved up. So like this piece right here, this is not carved up at all. Like that's an easy fix. It's like one there. This is just such a complicated model. I love this character though, it's so great. It's like that. It's just such a great character. I love the trope of having this like villain that seemed to be redeemed, wasn't, and went totally evil again. Well, he never really stopped being evil, but he sort of was given a second chance. Like, he had his life spared. He was going to probably die at the hands of the powers to be that captured him. Because he was a pretty nasty gangster. He wasn't just some random, like, thief. He was a pretty bad dude. So they gave him another chance. And what does he do with that chance? He joins the literal demon lord who is oppressing the entire galaxy. So he's probably at this point, no one's going to entertain the idea of trying to redeem him again. And anyone who tried to redeem him is going to lose a lot of credibility. Like, a lot of credibility. Yeah, this is a pretty evil creature. Evil character. Just a nutshell. I do love this character, though. It's the symbolism of this, like... You have Anakin in Star Wars who goes out killing younglings and killing kids. And then doing all these horrible things. And he's given, like, a redemption arc somehow. Because of his son. I'm like... it's a little stretchy. Like, let's just have a character that's just an absolute villain. And let's not try to redeem him. Because... it's just some evil thing that's like... yeah, I just don't see it happening. Like... usually you don't convince the SS guard to have a change of heart. Like, just don't. Or, like, the SS, like, general. Or the Red Guard, like, leader. Like, these aren't people that usually have a change of heart. Like, let's be honest. I mean, Tarkin didn't have a change of heart in Star Wars, obviously. A lot of them didn't. But it really... like... if someone's gonna do all the crimes that it did to become Vader, it's just a little jarring. I don't know. It was well written, it just doesn't make realistic sense. So I usually don't try to redeem certain villains. There's some more complicated villains I have, but I just don't try to redeem everyone. I mean, Palpatine wasn't redeemed, obviously. Like, that guy is based on the devil, but a lot of characters, there's a lot of good in them, even if they're villains. Like, I would even say Maul. Like, just the fact that he opposed the main villain. Like, if he was a little less hostile, he probably would be of a good use to fighting him. But, This character is similar. There's just no good in this guy. Not the smallest amount. He's not going to betray his boss. He's too loyal. He's given himself completely over to his boss's teachings. He used to just be a gangster, but now he's... I've thought of many times making a game about this character. Like, as this is the quote-unquote villain protagonist. This isn't the main hero of this story, or the main villain protagonist, but I do think this guy has potential as being, like, a villain protagonist. Like, he has the, like, the Samus armor thing, like, that he's at, like, actual big heroes have. He is the iconic design in lore. I really like that. Just want to fix this piece. I'm only going to do half of it because there's no point in not cutting in half and mirroring it. I'm not for a big studio. I really need to save the space because I don't have like the capabilities and making sure everything that's not mirrored. Some things I don't mirror, like the armor on this guy I just don't mirror. But the vast majority of this character, yeah, I'm mirroring it. I know it's a little like of a time saver, but I'm one guy. I might have one or two of the people who have expressed an interest in joining the team. They haven't yet joined the team. So I just don't have anyone else to work with. I can't afford to do minor things like on every character. The vast majority of characters in this game are just random enemies of either aliens or monsters. Or just aliens, demons, soldiers, you name it, it's there. But some like this guy are as soldiers and brigades. They have their own story to tell. But if I get lost in this guy's story and making sure every little detail of his armor is different on each side of it. First of all, not many societies would randomly have most of their armor not mirrored. At least not intentionally. So, like, I just don't think adding some, like, respites on the sides that are different on each side of the armor is worth it if I have such a small team of quite literally just me. Like, Metroid Prime was a game that often just mirrored the sides of the enemies. Like, I know Space Pirates had a different weapon each hand. I know the gun is in a different hand. But, like, a lot of the, like, armor of the character outside of those few bits that aren't able to mirror because they don't exist on one side, they are straight up the same. Just mirrored. I know that for a fact. So, if a big AAA studio, or a AAA connected studio like Retro, does it that way, I'm doing it the same way. Considering this game is supposed to be bigger than Metroid Prime 2 at least, in of itself, and that is a really amazing game. It just needs a little more difficulty spike, and that's what I'm trying to do here. So I'm trying to make it a lot harder than the classics. Like, looking at all the creatures I have, I'm beyond confident I can do it. Beyond confident. Absolutely. And this guy is one of the main villains, for that confidence to really shine through. So now that I have him like this, now that he looks like this, I know it's a little off, but I'll fix it later. Main thing I want to worry about right now, shading. Texture painting. So now that I have to redo all the UVs again. Not really all the UVs. That being said, let's save it so we don't accidentally lose all my stuff. That would be a tragedy. Unwrap failed to save one of 79 islands. I wonder which one broke. Nope, it's not that. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. One of 32 islands did not unwrap correctly. So now, since it's one, I could do is this. Oh, let's see. That is a problem. Let's go to UV editing. Because that looks mostly the same, but it just isn't, so I have to do a mark scene there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fix all these. That's fine. Wait, those aren't even, these are not fine. I thought they were fine, but they're these giant rectangular things that just take up space. So, yeah, let's make that a scene. In that case, let's make seams there, seams there. I don't even care where they are at all. No caring. Okay. Where's this next one? Since this failed to do, I'm beginning to think this is the one that failed. In fact, yep, this is the one. This is the thing that made me stop all that work. This single hexagonal thing is probably getting fixed like this. Now, I'm a reasonable person, but this shape, this stupid shape, let's try this again, okay? Let's try this again. Unwrap. I mean, the heck? Let's unwrap this. I don't know what's going on now. That ain't good. I don't know what just happened. Why isn't it working? I might have accidentally corrupted it. So let me go to Control Save As, just to block and break it up. So yeah, it was not intended to happen. So let me back it up just in case. I'm gonna reopen it. I really need this to work now. It's a fresh restart. No reason why this shouldn't work, but Even if it doesn't. What the hell? Yeah. Why don't we try something? I've never had that happen before. Ever. I've straight up never had that happen in another model. So I'm gonna just go to the other one now. Yeah, that was not supposed to happen. I'm just glad I didn't save it after that, after the UVs got corrupted. Let me just unwrap. Failed to save. Now, this is going to be... I have to redo this one again, don't I? Don't I? No, I did it beforehand. Here's how I'm gonna do this one, okay? I'm gonna go here. We're gonna do this a smart way. If this one, the second it worked, let's try unwrapping it again. You know what? Just appear it. Yeah, I just did that. The not caring, the straight up not caring. Yeah, no, I'm not keeping that file. Yeah, no. So now it's time to break this up again. I'm just gonna flip this up. This one here. Well, I'm just gonna put one on top of the other because they're mostly the same anyways, and it probably wouldn't affect anything. I mean, technically it would, but technically it's a little unprofessional or whatever, but I don't care at all. So this is hopefully a very successful game. This is a Metroidvania, but 3D. But also the shooty one, because everyone keeps doing the ones that don't involve shooting things, and it's like the sword instead. I'm like everyone just keeps making melee Metroidvanias. Like, gain new powers, but here's a bunch of overpowered guns because reasons, because being an American, we love our guns. Yeah. Okay, let's try this again. UV editing. Perfection. Wait, why isn't this split? Okay, let's did I somehow mess it up again? No, I didn't. Okay, so let's break this one up and then say perfection again. Okay, just divide this in half. UV, mark seam, go here, U, unwrap. Okay, now it's perfection. The first thing you want to do is, these two are the same essentially. They're close enough to just toss on top of each other. Like that. I know it's a little unorthodox, but I don't care. A lot of these pieces are very similar, like this one. This one is a little, like, probably legit the same as this, so I'm just gonna move it. The reason why I'm doing it for this large thing, I'm trying to save room. is if I want to add, like, accessories, I have room to add it. Now, if you take a picture, like, a view of, like, what it was in the beginning, and what it is now, this is cut down a lot in space. Like, it used to be, like, the huge big things at the top that took up all the space. They're not there anymore. Straight up. I disappeared those files, or those meshes, and they're not there. Now, this thing, I'm just gonna put that on top of that. As long as this is not the eye, I don't care. I'm pretty certain that's not his eye. Just to be sure, I'm gonna check to see where the eye is. Let's see, where's the eye? Okay, where is the eye of this character? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. This thing. Where is it? Oh, it's the wrong one. You know what? Screw it. Yep. Wait. That's not good. So let's just make this a lot smaller. UV, mark seam, unwrap, keep this all to the side. Next thing I'm going to do is simple. I'm going to go to the whole darn thing, edit. Wow, this was part of the eye. Whoops. Was it? Click the back of the eye? No. No, it wasn't the eye at all. That's the relief. So, these are all generally the same. Like that one, put that on top of that. It's not going to be any different. Take this one, throw it on top of this one. They're white. They're not going to be very much. Like their eyes. It might be something different with Ocearux, but this is not Ocearux. This is just legit a guy. Now, this, I think, is the part of the eye where it actually matters. This is a pupil. So let's select everything else and then try to find a home for this. This is like finding an accessories home. So I want to take these two pieces. So, and they can go anywhere I want. It fits. I'd say right there. I want the eyes to be separate from anything else because I don't want anything else influencing their color. Like, I want lots of detail on it. Right there. Actually, how about right there? And then we can take this one and then put it like that. They're not touching. That's what matters most. They're not touching. Then I could take these two pieces and I can shove them somewhere else. So this doesn't really need much detail as the pupil. I'd say right here works, just a little tiny smaller. Bingo! It works. That's how you do that. So now I take the whole thing and the funding